for this grappling affair. 34 years old, is game bred, 2 years the elder of Anthony Showtime Pettis. Masvidal, 1 inch taller. He has a 1 inch reach advantage, if you want to call it that. Grappling tonight, Masvidal versus Pettis. For our official introductions, here's Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready for the main event of the night? Pensacola, we're happy to be here with you tonight with Toole Promotions. And to all you watching on RU Live, thanks for buying the pay-per-view. Thanks for tuning in. And now, let's get down to action. This bout is being brought to you by our good friends at Banks Construction and is scheduled for one 10-minute round. If at the end of that round, we do not have a winner by submission, the bout will be declared a draw. And now, let's meet our grapplers. Introducing first, grappling out of the blue corner. Standing 5 feet 10 and representing Rufus Sport MMA. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin. He is the former WEC and UFC lightweight champion of the world, Anthony Showtime Pettis. And his opponent, grappling out of the red corner. Standing 5 feet 11, representing American Top Team. Fighting out of Miami, Florida. He is a perennial UFC contender and Mr. Three-Piece and a Soda. Please welcome Jorge Gabriel Masvidal.
1 10-minute round here in Pensacola. Final instructions to our grapplers.
Guys, let's have fun. Let's get a submission. Have fun. Let's get it.
Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. This is our main event here in Pensacola. TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas. 1 10-minute round here between these two fighters to sort it all out. Tie up early here.
Yeah, I would not be surprised if Pettis pulls guard. I don't know if he'll do it early, but I wouldn't be surprised if he does pull guard. I don't think he wants to really tangle with Masvidal too much on the wrestling.
Their Pettis goes for a takedown.
But I think that's just a decoy.
Both these men fighting at welterweight now in the UFC, but it's been a considerable time at lightweight. They're really equally sized. It's not that one fighter is really all that much bigger than the other.
Right, and I mean, they're both coming off the biggest wins of their career, and in which we felt like they were going to be undersized in those fights. Both of them knocking out, respectively, Darren Till and Stephen Wonderboy Thompson.
Controlling the back now of Pettis is Masvidal. Pettis goes to a knee. Masvidal thought about trying to get that hook in. He bails on it.
Interesting to see how Masvidal deals with this being in the corner like that, because he's kind of limiting himself with his movement of what he can do in that corner.
Pettis back to his feet. Pensacola Bay Center kind of split in their support here. Some chants for Pettis. You mentioned Masvidal, really a legend in these parts.
Well, that's South Florida. This is a little different. We don't claim.
It's still Florida. It's still Florida. King of the Boatyard. From the Boatyard to the bright lights. Masvidal takes on Pettis' teammate Ben Askren here in a couple weeks. Wonder if there's any intel gathering here for Pettis grappling against Masvidal.
I don't think so. I think it's not a lot you can tell from a situation like this.
And Masvidal's not going to have this approach against Ben Askren.
Yeah, right.
Pettis not afraid to give up his back here to Masvidal. Masvidal really hasn't tried to get the hooks in.
No, well, I think that's kind of Pettis' style. See, and there it goes right there. I knew he would want to get to his guard eventually. But I think he was just waiting his time. He didn't want to spend 10 minutes in his guard, but, you know, I think as time kind of dwindles down, he's going to want to give himself an opportunity to start throwing up some submissions here.
Pettis goes inverted, and Masvidal kind of disengages. All fun and games.
But this is not something you'd see anything different from like EBI, right? You'd see something like that.
I don't know if I've ever seen someone do an inverted butt scoot towards someone at EBI, but
maybe not EBI, but I've seen that in videos.
sure.
Yeah, and I've always wondered about that.
Pettis, his nickname is Showtime. He's here to put on a show. I think a lot of respect here from both of these guys as well. I mean, Pettis on his seat. Masvidal doesn't really want to go and dive into the guard of Pettis, and I think that's a sign of respect.
Yeah. This is a strong spot for, yeah, there he goes. It's a strong spot for Masvidal, that Darce choke. He's got a great Darce, but Pettis was hip to it and got his chest down onto the floor.
Masvidal trying to put some weight on Pettis. Pettis able to get to a knee now, back to his feet. Working a Kimura. As Pettis, he bails on it. Six minutes remain here.
Pettis kind of playing possum. I think he's waiting for Masvidal to make a mistake, and I think he might be waiting for him to shoot to make a mistake to hit his guillotine. Pettis has got a great guillotine. If you look at his resume, most of those submission wins are done by guillotine. Maybe not most of them, but a good portion.
Mentioned the submission of Benson Henderson. It was an arm bar that earned Pettis a UFC title back in August of 2013. Mentioned the guillotine. He did submit Charles Do Bronx Oliveira in 2016 with the guillotine. It's interesting, between these two gentlemen, they both own a submission over Michael Chiesa, who has a very well-respected ground game in mixed martial arts, and Chiesa's only been submitted 3 times in his entire career, and you're looking at 2 guys that did it. Halfway point here of this round. I would say regulation, but it's the only round. We don't go to overtime. If we fail to get a submission here in this 10 minutes, the bout will be declared a draw. And truly, this is a thrill to see 2 high-level athletes like this grapple.
Yeah.
And it's for charity. This is a bully-proof fundraising event. Appreciate everyone joining us on Are You Live? All for a good cause tonight. And when Masvidal heard about this event, he absolutely signed on immediately. Bully-proof helps kids in tough situations get into the gym. Right now, speaking of tough situations, Masvidal trying to put Pettis in one, maybe trying to frame up a arm triangle if he's able to get off to the side there, but he's got that hook in, and Pettis seems to be aware of the attack.
Yeah, Masvidal putting a lot of pressure on Pettis. Again, Pettis, you know, that's his grappling style. It's very lackadaisical, but he's waiting for a mistake. And if Masvidal gives him an opening, you will see him attack it.
Pettis able to get free. Now jumping guillotine for Showtime.
Again, and that's what I was saying. Like he just jumps at you. Like he plays very lackadaisical, get you off your guard, and then goes for it.
He'll jump off the cage and kick you in the head, or just jump straight up in the air and put you in a guillotine. Now back on the feet.
You see him playing possum, just kind of scooting over, not even looking at him. Again, he tries a leg attack there.
And I think we're seeing 2 high-level professional athletes with big fights coming up for themselves. You know, Masvidal fighting Askren, Anthony Pettis fighting Nate Diaz, and they're here competing. This isn't just a demo. This isn't an exhibition. These guys want to win.
Yeah, and I love the fact that they have come out here to compete, you know, within weeks of their fights, because, you know, they're just revving their bodies up and getting used to competing in front of an audience.
You were talking about, you know, the walk that is made by the amateur fighters. They need to get used to that. It's never a bad thing for fighters like these guys at the highest level to make that walk and just, you know, kind of knock the rust off.
Absolutely not, and this is why they're here, is to make that walk, get used to this, get used to having a person in front of you that's trying to beat you and you're trying to beat that other person. Now, obviously, the ramifications aren't as much as a UFC fight, but
right.
they still get to enjoy it and get to feel it and know what it's like again.
Trying to grab a hold of that neck again for a choke is Masvidal. Touch over 2 minutes remain here in the contest. Again, TJ DeSantis, Dean Thomas, Pensacola Base Center here in Pensacola, Florida. Trying to get a takedown now of his own is Anthony Pettis. Masvidal wise to it, now back at the feet.
Yeah, Masvidal scrambled out of that with everything. And that was what I said earlier. I don't think that Pettis will be able to get Masvidal onto his back. You know, Masvidal has spent a tremendous amount of time in the wrestling room and just focusing on wrestling so that that never happens to him.
Masvidal utilizing that strength to get control. The back of Pettis, able to pick him up, put him on the floor. We've yet to see Masvidal really put in a hook here and try to control the back of Pettis. See if he changes things up here in the final 75 seconds.
There's something about Pettis that he's doing to Masvidal that's keeping him from doing that. And there's a feeling that he's getting that it's uncomfortable. So he's not trusting it. Because you know that Pettis is setting him up for something.
Final minute of the match. Pettis trying to grab a hold of that right leg of Masvidal. Masvidal again on the neck of Pettis. Pettis wise to it. 45 seconds left.
Pettis, a black belt from Daniel Wanderlei from Milwaukee. Very tricky, crafty ground game.
Masvidal now here in side control. 30 seconds remain.
He's again, he plays possum. He tries to bait you into feeling like you're doing good, and then he catches you with something.
Trying to trip up Masvidal. Masvidal lapping it off. Final 15 seconds of the match. Time is going to expire, but not before Anthony Pettis jumps on something. Nothing there, and that's a wrap. Jorge Gamebred Masvidal, Anthony Showtime Pettis. They grappled to a draw. What a treat that was, Dean Thomas.
Yeah, that was a treat. That was a lot of fun to watch. And these guys, they didn't have to come out here, and they did just for our entertainment.
Two UFC warriors with huge fights in their careers upcoming and not afraid to put it on the line and showcase their grappling skills. And for both of these guys, where it's mixed martial arts all the time, I'm sure this was a treat for them to come out and grapple against a high-level opponent.
You know, they've never competed against each other, and to have, you know, to come out here and compete in this safe environment, so to say, it had to be fun for them.
See, Masvidal, he had the control of the neck there of Pettis and utilized some wrestling to get Anthony to the floor. Looked like he was going to try to break off to the side for maybe an arm triangle, but Pettis was wise to it. Really good display of defensive and offensive grappling from both of these guys. Pettis tried to jump that guillotine. Masvidal wise to it, and he's still having some fun inside the ring. Our main event does not disappoint. Anthony Showtime Pettis, Jorge Gamebred Masvidal. To make this one official, we will throw it to Christopher James.
Ladies and gentlemen, y'all better make some noise for these two men putting on a hell of a show. The match goes the full 10 minutes. Our referee, Trey Aldor, calls it a draw. And now we're gonna have both these guys speaking with our own. D. Thomas.
Man, that was a lot of fun for us to watch. How was that for you, Anthony?
I always have a good time out here. Jorge's just one of the tough guys, man. You want to play with my guard. Smart for him. Strong on top. It was a fight.
It was interesting to see you guys compete. We've never seen you guys compete. Is there anything that you felt from him that surprised you?
He has good awareness, man. Like every time I was like just baiting him for something, he would pull back, guard up in space. So yeah, he just good awareness. And he's strong, tough dude.
So obviously you got a big fight coming up. Tell us about that.
Nate Diaz, make sure you guys are tuning in August 17th. Me and Nate Diaz throwing down. Tune in for that.
Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Anthony Showtime Pettis. Where's George? George, come on over here. Same thing for you, man. That was a lot of fun to watch. Is there anything that surprised you about Anthony Pettis?
Well, I knew that he'd be pulling the slick stuff, you know. He likes to act docile like he's asleep and then explode with him. Sorry about that. Man, I know how he is, man. He's a slick dude. He likes to lure people to sleep and then go. So I was very cautious of that, you know.
It seemed to catch you off guard almost with the jumping guillotine. How close was that?
Part close because he was wrapped around the chin, but I saw it. I recognized it once he jumped up and he kicked him, but he did get it for a second, you know. It was pretty tight.
Now, you obviously got a pretty big fight coming up, too. Tell us about that.
July 6th, watch some real-life violence. If you like violence, tune in July 6th.
Who are you fighting?
Some nobody motherfucker, some dead motherfucker.
That's all that counts. Ladies and gentlemen, make some noise for Jorge Masvidal.